So fall is quickly approaching and I am so excited for soup season and everything in our crock pot. I love summer and I'm not really ready to say goodbye to like the sun shining all the time, but I am really excited for cooler temperatures and all the hearty and delicious Midwestern soups that we always have in the fall and winter time. So today I'm going to be making a chili in our crock pot and a creamy taco soup. I know chili can vary so much depending where you live within the United States. I am not super familiar if outside of the United States people have chili a lot. I hope so. If you don't and you live outside of the United States, let me know if you've ever had chili before. If you haven't, try making this along with me and I promise it'll change your life. But back to it, I know in the Midwest, we love putting beans in our chili, and I know that can be decisive because the South does not like beans in their chili, but we like beans in our chili, so I'm gonna be putting beans in my chili. So today I have chili beans and black beans, and one reason I love using my crock pot is you can literally just dump all this stuff in here, leave it for a few hours, and then your dinner is ready. It's so easy, and I just love crock pots. So I'm not gonna drain my beans because it has that good chili sauce on there and we want all that in our soup. And then I also have tomato sauce, tomato paste, and diced tomatoes. And then I did brown 1 pound of hamburger and a small onion I sauteed with the hamburgers, so I will be adding that to our crock pot as well. And you can get really fancy with chili by before we've added bacon and brisket, doing fancier types of meats in your chili. But I'm just gonna stick to the good old hamburger today because that's easiest and we don't have, my husband's busy. He didn't have time to make a pork or something like that. So we're just gonna stick with hamburger for the day. And this is a nice big can of diced tomatoes. And these are just regular tomatoes. I know there's some that come that have Italian seasoning already in them. This is just regular tomatoes, and then I'm gonna add a bunch of seasonings here in a little bit. I'm going to add my hamburger next because our crock pot's getting kind of full, so I don't know how much room I'm gonna have left if I wanna do the rest of my tomato sauce or not. I am gonna go ahead and put our tomato sauce in here because there is just enough room to add this can and then the tomato paste. I also love making chili as a last minute dinner because you can even make this on the stovetop if you're oh my gosh, what do we eat? We gotta eat in 45 minutes. You can whip all this together, put it on the stovetop, and then it just needs to heat up and get hot. And it's so versatile too. You can add corn, you could add a variety of different vegetables. I feel then you're kind of getting away from true chili, but it's fine. You can add other stuff. You can make it as spicy as you want. You can make it as mild as you want. I just love chili. Taste. And last, we need to get our seasonings because if you don't season chili, then it's not gonna be as good as it should be. Okay, since I already put an onion in here, sauteed it and diced it up, I'm not gonna add any onion powder, but it looks like I'm gonna need to buy some more of this. We love cumin in our chili, so I'm probably gonna put the rest of this. Good thing we're going to the store tomorrow. I can get some more. And then I am gonna put chili powder in, not a ton, 1/4 of a teaspoon, because I'm not a big spicy person and we have a toddler and she's gonna eat this and I don't wanna burn her mouth. But if my husband had his way, he would pour a whole thing of chili powder in here. He loves spicy food. I'm also gonna do some ground mustard and garlic powder. Salt and pepper, of course, as well. And we stir it all together very carefully. And that's another thing with chili too. If you put seasonings in it, you can try it in an hour after it's been sitting in the crock pot. And if you think it needs more of something, you can add more. And that's it for our chili right now. I'm gonna put the lid on and then I'm gonna set it on low for like 4 or 5 hours because right now it's 1:30. So we won't be eating this for another 4 or 5 hours. So I'll have it on low and then it'll be perfect just in time when we need to eat. I am going to attempt to make some cinnamon rolls for the first time. My mom has made cinnamon rolls and I've kind of like helped her before, but I've never personally made them all by myself. So fingers crossed, we're gonna do this together because in the Midwest, at least where I grew up, it's very, I feel like it's just like northern Iowa and then Minnesota that does this. But I grew up where whenever you have chili, you have cinnamon rolls. You eat the chili and cinnamon rolls together. So that is what I love, and I'm gonna try doing it, making some from homemade scratch. But I know some people are like, you eat cinnamon rolls with your chili. Yes, we do, and it's amazing. Just take my word. So since I have never made cinnamon rolls myself before, I printed off a recipe from, I think it's Ambitious Kitchen. Yes, ambitiouskitchen.com. So I'm going to read this and stick to this recipe as best I can, just to make sure that I do it correctly. Okay, let's get all the ingredients for the dough out first. I would like to be able to make cinnamon rolls in sourdough form eventually, but my starter is not active right now, so I'm gonna use the quick rise yeast so that way we can eat these for dinner tonight because it says it only needs to rise for an hour and a half. Sugar, egg, butter. We want to add our warm milk into our mixing bowl and then we'll sprinkle the yeast on top. We'll add the sugar, egg yolk, and melted butter all into that. Mix it pretty well and then stir in the flour and salt with a wooden spoon until the dough really gets incorporated. And then you'll want to put it on the stand mixer and knead for about 8 minutes on medium speed until the dough forms a nice ball and is slightly sticky but not too sticky. So you want it to be coming away from the bowl. We'll transfer to a well-oiled bowl and then we'll cover that with plastic wrap and have it rise for an hour to an hour and a half or until it's at least doubled in size. I usually place my dough in the oven. Don't turn it on. Just put it in the oven with the light on and that usually gives it enough heat in there to help the dough start to rise. Once the dough has doubled in size, we're gonna transfer it to our countertop, which make sure to flour that as well so it doesn't stick to the countertop. We'll spread softened butter over the dough and leaving about 1/4 of an inch at the edges. So I've already mixed together the brown sugar and cinnamon in a separate bowl. And now I'm gonna use my hands to sprinkle the mixture over the buttered dough. And then we'll just make sure that gets completely covered because this is the ooey gooey center of your cinnamon roll that tastes oh so good. Once all the brown sugar and cinnamon is sprinkled on, we're gonna tightly roll up the dough starting at the 9-inch side because this dough should be 14 by 9 inches rectangular. And then once that's all rolled up, we're gonna cut about 1 inch apart to form 9 separate cinnamon rolls. Next, we'll place our cinnamon rolls in a greased 9 by 9 inch baking pan. or a round 9-inch cake pan, whichever works the best for you. And we are going to cover it in plastic wrap and let it rise again for 30 to 45 minutes until they've almost doubled. They just need to get bigger. And here again, I'm going to set these in my oven just to sit. Don't turn it on yet, and they'll rise in there. Now we can see these have gotten a lot bigger, so I'm going to turn my oven on to 350 degrees, make sure to remove the plastic wrap, and then we're going to bake these for 20 to 25 minutes. These turned out so well. I'm so happy with the way that these cinnamon rolls look, and I promise they taste even better. We don't have any left anymore because we just devoured these in like 2 days. They were so good. For our next super easy throw together crock pot meal, we are making a taco soup. This is one of my favorite soups to make in the crock pot in the wintertime, and it's really pretty simple. So first we're gonna start out with, I already browned 1 pound of hamburger and I sauteed some onions in with this, so I'm gonna go ahead and dump this in my crock pot. And when I was browning the hamburger, I did not put seasonings in it yet because I'm gonna put a bunch of taco seasoning in the soup itself. So you could definitely add garlic, onion powder when you're browning your hamburger if you want a little extra flavor. I did put onions in that, so you probably wouldn't need garlic powder, but you know what I mean. So you can if you want, but I am gonna put seasonings in the crock pot itself with everything else. So I just decided not to this time. And then we need beef broth or chicken stock. Beef or chicken broth works. So I'm gonna pour in 2 cups chicken stock. And honestly, I'm going 2 cups right now just to see how much room is left in my crock pot. I don't want to overload it with chicken stock before I actually get everything else in there. So I might add a little bit more at the end if, you know, we still have a ton of room in our crock pot and we want some more stew. All right, and then I'm using black beans. And these are, I usually buy the no salt added canned beans because sometimes if you buy just the regular canned beans, they have so many milligrams of salt in there. And I would just rather add the salt in myself later versus having like 1,000 milligrams in a can of black beans. And then I'm using chili beans. You can also use red kidney beans, but I don't have those, so I'm gonna use chili beans. Now that we've got our beans in the crock pot, I'm going to move on to 1 can of corn. And this is whole kernel corn and not creamed corn, it's just the kernels. There's definitely a difference between creamed corn and then just the kernels of corn. Okay, so I probably got about 80% of the juice out, which is good enough. Or more like 90%. There wasn't a lot left in that can. And then a can of diced tomatoes. And then lastly, we are going to add my salsa and our taco seasoning. And then this is pretty much it. It just sits, heats up, we stir it a few times, and it's ready for dinner. I'm going to measure out 2/3 cup of salsa. And this is salsa that my mom made. So every year, her and my dad have a garden and they can spaghetti sauce, salsa, tomato sauce, pizza sauce, lots of different sauces. And they make really good salsa. So I'm using some of my mom's salsa. It smells good. Pour that in our crock pot. And then I'm going to do 3 tablespoons of taco seasoning. Take the lid off. That might be a little easier. And this taco seasoning is definitely my favorite that we've ever had. I got it at Costco and it's the Spice Islands brand. It's a premium taco seasoning with chipotle, cocoa powder, and cornmeal. Ooh, I don't know why I read that. I've tried lots of different taco seasoning brands, and this one is my absolute favorite. So if you shop at Costco, it's at Costco and you can pick it up. I would assume you can get it other places too, but I just know Costco. Gosh. Okay, so now I'm gonna stir our soup up. We've got our sauce in there, our tomatoes, our seasoning, our meat. And if you wanna make it a little spicier, you could definitely add some hot sauce, put a little bit of that in. You could add some chili powder. This taco seasoning does have red pepper flakes, so it's gonna be the perfect amount of heat for us. And since we also feed our toddler anything that we're eating, we don't want it to be too spicy. So if my husband wants a lot of spice in his, he can add chili powder or whatever he wants on top. Sometimes he'll do canned jalapenos and some jalapeno juice. I remember this one time he made me taco soup. This was when we were first started dating. And my mouth was on fire. It was so hot. He poured jalapeno juice in from like the canned jalapenos. He chopped up jalapenos, put them in there. He put hot sauce in it. Oh my gosh. And I was like, it's so good, but my mouth was burning. And he hasn't done that since. He now knows, just put jalapenos and jalapeno juice in yours if you want a super spicy soup. But it's a fun story to think back on. All right, and that's our soup. Yeah, once you stir it, it looks really good. I'll get you guys a close-up. But yeah, super easy. You can throw this together in the morning, turn the crock pot on low for 8 hours, have it be going while you're at work or while you're doing whatever you're doing throughout the day. And then you have dinner ready for you, and you don't even have to think about it at night. It's just, all right, let's get the bowls out. If you do want to make like a side to it, you could do cornbread would be a really good choice. You could do tortilla chips. If you want a vegetable, we always love doing just steamed broccoli. But yeah, or you could just completely do this because you got your vegetables also in your soup. So, and just have the soup by itself. All right, friends, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate all of you being here and cooking along with me. I hope you are learning some great recipes, some tips that you can apply in your own kitchen for your own family. And I really hope you try these 2 crock-pot recipes, the chili and the taco soup. I'm sure your entire family will love it and it will be a hit. Make sure to like and subscribe and come back and watch again next time. If you are looking for some more videos of mine and would just love to browse my channel, I would greatly appreciate it. I also have my most recent video linked here and then also a playlist. See you again next time. Thanks, y'all.